It appeared to be just an ordinary bus. With thousands produced and decades of use under its belt, the Leyland Leopard actually emerged as one of the most reliable vehicles on British roads. Nevertheless, it silently vanished in spite of that achievement. Not suddenly, not by failure, but by a gradual, nearly imperceptible transformation. You'll learn why it vanished from UK roads in this story, as well as what most people were unaware of at the time. The Leopard was just what operators needed when it debuted in 1959. It was constructed by Leyland Motors using a tried-and-true formula. It had a sturdy chassis, a front-mounted engine, and a dependable design throughout. No attempt was made to reimagine the bus. And that was exactly the point. It was familiar to drivers. It was simple for mechanics to service. It was reliable for operators. The Leopard swiftly established itself in a time when reliability was more important than creativity. This is the unexpected part, though. As the Leopard gained popularity, the industry as a whole was already starting to shift. Bus design began to gradually change in the 1960s. In order to keep the noisy, heat-producing engine away from the driver and passengers, engineers started experimenting with rear-engine configurations. This appeared to be a minor adjustment at first. However, in reality, it completely changed the experience. The cabins grew silent. Travels felt more seamless. Additionally, travelers experienced real improvements in comfort, particularly on longer routes. With its conventional front-engine configuration, the Leopard still performed admirably, but it was no longer a symbol of the future. Most people were unaware that the Leopard's greatest strength also contributed to its lengthy lifespan. It was more than a bus. The platform was adaptable. It was marketed as a chassis, ready to be fitted with bodies by specialized companies like Plaxton and Marshall Bus, rather than as a full vehicle. This allowed operators to customize the Leopard to their own specifications. A basic rural service bus can be one. A cozy long-distance coach might be another. It was very appealing because of its degree of customization, particularly for smaller businesses who required versatility without complexity. Imagine yourself in the late 1960s, waiting at a bus stop. When a Leopard shows up, its appearance varies. It can be simple and useful at times. At other times, it seems nearly opulent. But underneath, it's the same machine, reliable, steady, and trustworthy. Not only did operators gain confidence from this familiarity, but entire communities did as well. In many regions of Britain, particularly in rural areas, the Leopard evolved beyond a means of transportation. It turned into a habit. It was a normal part of life. However, this is where the narrative starts to shift. Expectations began to change as the 1970s approached. Beyond dependability, passengers demanded more. They desired solace. Quieter travel was what they desired. They also desired contemporary design. Once considered experimental, rear-engine buses were now the norm. Driving a front-engined Leopard meant putting up with engine heat and noise that had already been lessened by more recent models. Drivers saw the improvement right away. It's difficult to return once you've experienced a calmer taxi. Additionally, operators started to notice something else. The philosophy of maintenance was evolving. Instead of distinct chassis and body combinations, more recent buses were developed as integrated pieces. This method produced more reliable fleets and streamlined production. The Leyland National, which debuted in the early 1970s, is among the most significant examples of this change. It stood for a whole other way of thinking. In stark contrast to the Leopard's conventional approach, it was modern, standardized, and constructed as a single structure. Additionally, the Leopard started to feel like a product of a bygone period once these new designs were put into service. However, it didn't instantly vanish. Many individuals have misconceptions about this. The Leopard did not abruptly disappear from British roadways. Rather, it progressively disappeared. Here, one bus was retired. There, another took its place. Newer models were gradually introduced by depots that previously relied largely on Leopards. They started to alter routes they had been serving for years, frequently with no notice. At first, the change was subtle and nearly undetectable. You didn't know you hadn't seen one in a long time until one day. However, as it was disappearing from Britain, an unanticipated event was taking place abroad. Overseas, the Leopard was living a second life. Its simplicity turned into a significant advantage in nations in Australia, Asia, and Africa. Roads were frequently more difficult. Resources for maintenance can be scarce, and the Leopard's simple engineering made it remarkably resilient in those circumstances. Repairing it was simple. It could withstand rigorous treatment, and it continued to function long after more sophisticated devices could have faltered. What was considered antiquated in Britain was considered reliable in other areas of the world. Changing demands for accessibility also quietly played a role in its demise. The necessity for simpler boarding, particularly for senior travelers, was becoming more widely recognized by the late 1970s and early 1980s. In response, bus design started to change. The direction was obvious, even though truly low-floor buses would not be available until later. Everyone needed to be able to operate vehicles more easily. With its conventional design, the Leopard was not intended for that future. Major modifications would have been necessary to adapt it, and by then, more recent designs were already more appropriate for those requirements. In 1982, production finally stopped. More contemporary automobiles like the Leyland Tiger had already supplanted it at that point. These more recent versions maintained the dependability that consumers had come to rely on while adding better layouts, increased comfort, and a more futuristic appearance. The Leopard was successful. In a changing business, it simply reached the end of its natural lifespan. Its very unremarkable appearance at the time is what makes its story so captivating. It wasn't intended to be noticeable. It was not intended to be revolutionary. It was designed to function flawlessly, day in and day out. And in doing so, it integrated itself into everyday life in a manner that very few cars ever do. Because they didn't have to, people didn't discuss it much. It was just there, consistent, dependable, and familiar. However, once you are familiar with this tale, it is hard to overlook what took place. The Leopard's shortcomings did not force it to vanish. Because of the changes in its surroundings, it vanished. Technology developed. Expectations increased. One step at a time, the industry advanced. Eventually, the Leopard's commitment to its identity became insufficient. And maybe that's why its absence feels so subtle and significant. There was no spectacular conclusion, no last goodbye. Just a slow decline as newer devices replaced it. However, the memory endures for those who recall it. The front engine's sound. The steady journey. The reliability that characterized a whole transportation age. Therefore, the explanation for the Leyland Leopard's disappearance from UK roads is neither abrupt nor dramatic. It's far more human. Modify advancement. And the silent death of something that seemed to last forever. Growing up, did you ever see or ride a Leyland Leopard in your community? Tell us about your recollection below. If this reminded you of something from the past, you might want to share it with someone else.